I got cut off. I didn't realize I was cut off. But anyway, I was talking about Jovi Beauty. The fact that she says she's black and she is Afro Latina. So Afro Latina, she said Latina is a culture. I don't know what Afro is except for hair. I know Afro means you're black because of the hair or whatever, and I guess the skin tone. I don't know. Afro to me is hair. I don't know how it gets to be a race of people, but anyway, I digress. So ADOS, what we're doing is we identifying as ADOS because identifying as African American and as black has not afforded those that are ADOS, which are descendants of slavery, come on the ships from Nigeria, as far as African diaspora said that Atlantic slave ships were back to Nigeria and Africa, and probably other part of Africa that sold ADOS to whoever they want to sell ADOS to, and they came on these slave ships to America. Then the ships over here, those that came on the ships, and also those that blacks that were already here who were also sold into slavery by the Aboriginal Indians and whatever and whoever else. So, and then were freed by Abraham Lincoln, according to, I think, people say by the Republicans. And then Jim Crow ushered in. And then Martin Luther King and Malcolm X and whoever else brought that to an end with Lyndon B. Johnson, brought that to an end. And then now we're here at the African American black thing, which come from black and colored down to African Americans. And now African Americans are ushered into mass incarcerations in the 80s, I believe. And now we are down to a new point. Instead of being African American, we are ADOS, descendants of all of that, back to Nigeria, Africa, and all those different places that sold black-skinned people, that sold their people into bondage with Americans and with the United States and British and Europe and all these other places, just buying black bodies because they see black bodies as something to torture or whatever. But anyway, I digress. But anyway, ADOS is an identity that black people, African Americans. This sun feels good coming out bright, but I want my phone to get hot and cut off because it does that. I start to go over here to my chair. Oh, I see the hubby home. But anyway, let me finish my video. But anyway, come on here in my little shaded area away from the sun. The sun feels good because my body loves that sun. But anyway, I digress. So what we do now is we are identifying with who we are. Because at this point, ADOS, black people, African Americans, that descendants of slaves, cannot get what they need or ask for what they need to make the black community, the African American community, a better place to live. To make it a community like the white community, like the African community, like the Latino community, like the Jamaican community, like the Nigerian community, like the Haitian community, Dominican community. All of us live in America, but everybody have a community, but African American and black people. But all of these communities outside of the white community identify as black and African Americans. Therefore, because they will be African Americans like Obama, African American, because he was born here, first generation here. His dad is from Kenya, Africa, and his mom is from wherever they come from. The mama parents are wherever they come from. But anyway, they have a clear identity. So now ADOS is about having a clear identity of who we are. And since the only thing that is clear is that there are black people here, I think they say 45 million here, that are descendants of black people, African American, that are descendants of slavery and have no wealth and have nothing to hand down to their offspring. The white community, all other communities got wealth and whatever to hand down to make sure that their children living their best life, and African Americans that's descendant of slavery are not. Therefore,